Dan, have you ever been to a farmer's market?
Yes, I have.
A
Many
farmer's
times.
market. I saw your one video. You showed your brother's. I guess it's kind of like a roadside stand, but it's farming. It's vegetables and stuff, corn and
Yes.
corn stalks, huh?
Farm stand, he calls it. He calls it a farm stand.
Right,
Produce, honey, flowers, all kinds of stuff.
right. I have noticed something about farmers markets or farms roadside stands because there's a bunch of them out there. It seems that in firewood, if we get a bunch of free pallets and nail them together and paint them brown, we can sell firewood out at the end of our street. And these farmer markets, if it's not like something that took place in a dedicated lot, a person buys a shed and paints it red and puts it at the end of their driveway and they sell gourds and tomatoes.
Yes. Yeah. They make it look
Yes,
nice and fancy.
they do. And there is something, though, that I have noticed about farmers markets and about roadside stands for vegetables. And I'm wondering if you've noticed the same thing. And what I have noticed is, holy cow, are their prices expensive?
Well, I don't frequent too many farmers markets anymore, but when I did, yes, it was very I was kind of shocked at the price for a pound of
What
peas.
what the heck? Their prices are crazy. they are there are people that I know that have an abundance of zucchini and they'll just set them out on their driveway with a cardboard sign that says
Yep,
free.
give them away. Give them away.
Yeah. And in my part of the country where I live, where people, you always lock your car doors when you're away from your car out here. And that is simply because someone will fill your car up with zucchini if you're not paying attention. Yeah. I'll see people, they'll have like a cooler, like something you would take
Yeah.
to a tailgate party, and they'll have it set out at the end of the road, and tomatoes are a quarter. But man, oh man, I stopped because I needed a tomato. Our garden's done. Well, this guy had some tomatoes, and I'm just shocked at what he was asking for tomatoes. And I felt dumb just driving off because I was like, I'm not paying this much for a tomato. You crazy?
Well, it's locally sourced, organic. Hand planted and raised, and all those factors come into play. If you want to, you want to support local farmers and eat healthy. That's what
Yeah,
it takes.
right. Well, then why is it that a tomato at my Kroger down the road, we don't have Kroger here, but you know what I mean, that got flew in from Guatemala is cheaper than what Farmer Jones has up the road at his roadside stand?
Well, I don't know.
Come on, I need to know this. I am Because this is going to be the theme of today's Woodhound podcast.
It is because
Why is it? Tell me.
you're
Why is it so expensive?
at the farmer stand because that's all he's selling, and he's putting more into it. He doesn't have
Yeah.
the supply chains and all the big I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it very interesting that a farmer's market or a farmer's roadside stand can command such a high price for their produce. But firewood's the exact opposite. You know,
Uh,
Firewood, locally sourced, locally produced, locally sold. We should all recognize that. And Farmer Jones's vegetable garden and his sweet corn and his gourds and his pumpkins, they're all local, very minimal transportation costs involved. I just had, I just bought 9 triaxle loads of logs for my yard, and
ooh.
that was a pretty penny coming out of my bank account. I'm here to tell you. But everyone says, yeah, man, trucking's just so expensive. Trucking's so expensive. But here we have a farmer's market where we have tomatoes. I mean, what the heck? I have a pumpkin patch down the road. They do a really good job, and they're kind of pricey. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, well,
And why is it?
it's a lot of work to go out there in the fields and
Well, there's a
weed
lot of
and
work in
plant.
firewood.
See that? Yeah, and I think that's the big misconception is firewood is easy. Everyone just looks at a stick of wood and be like, ah, that's nothing.
Yeah. Well, if you had a Yappa 405, it would be easy. But yeah, everything else involved with it is difficult. Yeah. What the heck? Firewood is hard, man. I'll tell you this. I put a lot of effort into my firewood and I sell it for a lot. I sell it. My prices are so high that a lot of people that call me and ask for the price, it's just dead silence on the phone after I tell them. That is how high my prices are. And I'm serious that even after I deliver my wood, knowing how much I made on this delivery, I still don't think I've charged enough because of all the effort and labor that's involved in making that firewood and getting it delivered.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a saying, I think it was last week, something about talking about firewood is the most work you'll do for the least amount of money. That's like
Well,
the one more thing.
I think for a lot of people out there, I would agree with that because
Yes.
people just, yeah, I still buy my own firewood, that I don't even resplit it anymore. The guy makes it to my standards. I buy firewood already made and I'm buying it at the going rate out here, what most people sell firewood for. And then I can still make a lot of money off of that. People sell firewood for just way too little. So I'm just wondering, when I was at this farmer's stand, what the heck? Do they catch grief from their neighbors, the farmer neighbor that calls them a ripoff because they're selling their tomatoes for too high? Do you think farmers do that to each other?
Oh, I don't know. I wonder about that. That would be I should ask my brother if he has any other local vendors or people that do farmers market if well, I do know one thing. I think when you go to like an organized market, I think you have to all set your same pricing. So like like they have like when you sign up for it, they go down a list of here's how much a pound of peas is and a pound of beans. And
Yeah.
like everybody, I think has to match it.
Could you imagine if a firewood
Oh, that would be awesome.
gosh, this is just a insightful into the firewood industry. That would never happen in firewood,
Nope.
where they would all agree to sell it all at the same price. They would find out what you're selling it at, and they would sell yours even cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah, to where you could go buy it and then resell what they just sold to you.
The race to the bottom. It's always a race to the bottom with firewood, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I have a theory. I can't prove it, but I know that I'm right. Have I said that before on this podcast?
You may have said it. Yes.
I have a lot of
time or
theories.
two.
Yeah. I have a theory. And that is where I think too, if you look at the farmers, okay, so there's agribusiness, the term
Yep.
agribusiness is
Yes.
where you don't have like a tomato patch. You have 1,000 acres of tomato plants, and they were all grown from a genetically modified seed that is resistant to some type of herbicide that they spray that kills all the weeds and only allows the tomato to grow. And then they got these gigantic machines that can pick them so that they don't get smashed. And it's a specific type of tomato where it doesn't get smashed and transport. It's kind of firm, kind of tasteless,
Yep.
the exact opposite of what you would grow in your garden. These guys are just flooding the market, with cheap tomatoes, and they make their money on volume. And I'm talking zillions of tomatoes being shipped all over the world. But then you have a person that's selling their tomatoes out of their garden, and so their prices are higher. But then you also have a producer who then becomes the point of sale. So instead of just setting a tomato on a Coleman cooler sitting out at the end of their driveway, they invest in their sales presentation. They make a nice roadside stand. pleasant colors, easy in parking, little streamers flying here to invite people in. And that is how they can start asking for more money. And it's worth their time to spend it to sell what they're producing. And that's where my theory with firewood is, that people produce firewood and they do it because it's fun and it's awesome. And what else would you rather do than make firewood? But then I think when it gets ready to sell it, they sell it like they're a producer. They sell it
Yeah.
like they sell it like agribusiness, where they sell it cheap and they think they're selling volume, and we're not. And maybe we need to start thinking and being tolerant of those of us who have already figured that part out. Because there's still people who don't like these roadside stands because they're asking too much money. You're selling a bundle for what?
Right. How
That's a
much is in
ripoff.
that loose stack? You get how much for that? That's not even a 32nd of a cord.
Yeah.
Or some. Yeah, but the other interesting side of the coin with this whole topic is the fact that the consumer, like my wife will go to a store and she'll read labels and see certain, things that were used on the, harvesting of the tomato, for example. And the consumer is very, driven to where if they don't want to buy that tomato because it was manufactured or picked one certain way, that's when they go to the roadside stand. So like with
Yeah.
firewood, I don't think consumers pay enough attention to things like seasoned wood, ready to burn,
Yeah.
accurate amounts, all those things. I don't know. It goes
Or
both.
maybe it's because firewood is only local. I don't know. I mean, I can go to my
Oh
big
yeah,
box
yeah,
grocery
yeah,
store down here. Well, they'll have bundled firewood and it says like, product of Slovenia, or
yeah,
Estonia. Did they really ship this stuff from Europe? Or there'll be the companies, the bundled firewoods from Georgia or Wisconsin, not Ohio, not like a
yeah.
local guy like
Yep.
me. Like I have some grocery stores where they have my bundles in it with my label, which says my hometown, which is the same hometown that the grocery store is in. Yeah. So it seems that when I look at roadside stands and farming and farmers production, it's kind of makes me look at the firewood industry even more, not critical, but it's like, come on, guys, here's an opportunity. Because I don't think the farmers are all yelling at each other.
No, I don't think they are either. Not at all. But there is a lot of I want to say yelling, but there's a lot of noise in the firewood. If you go, especially like online, oh my goodness, it's always
Yeah.
just heated debates and discussion over pricing and price gouging and ripping people off and oh my
Oh my
god, I can't
gosh.
believe
Yeah.
you sell it for that and oh my goodness, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
I am a strong proponent of the free market. And now I will look anyone in the eye and tell them I operate at a high level of moral and ethical standards. I don't rip people off. I will I will walk to a customer's house to give them their money back if my truck broke down. I'm serious. That's
yep,
how, especially when it comes to other people's money. I'm more of a steward of them than I am of myself. That's just the way I am. But, when it comes to the prices, it's the market, man. And then the funny thing is, we had talked about, our fellow Woodhound community. We wear flannel shirts. We're a hardy group. You know, we are all proud capitalists, but that's when you are into the capitalistic side of firewood, then you start getting grief.
yeah,
I'm wondering if these people with the roadside stands and these farmers markets hear the same thing.
yeah. I wonder if a farmer with a roadside stand is a hobbyist or if farming has that category. If
Yeah.
you're a farmer, are you a professional farmer or a hobbyist?
Well, there's the whole thing, hobby farm hobby farming.
Yeah.
And that would be something like, I kind of had that in the back of my head when we bought our acreage out here. It's not a lot, but it's not a suburban lot either. And you think of chickens and a small tractor, and some of these people too that get into organics and all. I mean, they make a lot of money off of their small piece of land being a hobby farmer. And then that is, in contrast to agribusiness, where you have it's an economy of scale, I guess, with a farm that's just thousands of acres
Yeah.
and all
Yep.
types of
Yep.
mechanization. I mean, yeah.
The corporate farms where they all get bought out by one farm. All the farms work under one umbrella.
Ugh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Different topic for a different day.
Yeah. But again, I think the interesting part of this also, like I said, just back to the consumer. Like I said, my wife has no problem going and paying twice the amount she would for a tomato or for eggs or for all this organic stuff. But yet consumers look at firewood and they want to buy the cheapest they can.
Yeah.
Or
It's just it's another one of those unique realities of firewood.
right.
I don't think that Maserati, or I don't think anyone at Ford calls up Maserati and calls them a ripoff because you can buy a Ford for $100,000 cheaper.
Yeah. Probably not.
You know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but here in firewood, then you get people that are upset about that.
They probably just call Dodge. That's a ripoff right there.
Yeah. Well, I've been fortunate that I bought my second Ford, because as soon as I bought that, my other one, I've had multiple problems. So it's sitting in my backyard right now with the hood up in the air.
Oh no.
And why is it sitting out over the grass? I'll let you figure that one out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is another interesting thing. I mean, it's like I said, it's just one of those things where, to your point about the producer or the supplier, like looking at it through a different lens as well. That's
yeah.
Well,
why not? We take so much time and so much pride in producing firewood. Why not take that same amount of time in learning how to be a salesperson, or learning about sales, learning about merchandising, learning about marketing and advertising?
Yeah. And yeah, following what's going on with, like, I'll just give you a current state of affairs right now, like Facebook Marketplace, full of scammers. If you're selling firewood on Facebook, you need to adopt, you need to change, you need to reevaluate what you're doing, because
you need a website.
It's just got a bad rap right now.
Yeah, there was, my friend from Colorado, my image and company name is being used on a local, it's not like, Western United States. It is a local Colorado Facebook marketplace kind of users group. And I am selling firewood in it.
Yeah. And
it's me, my name, my pictures from my, from my Instagram, from my Facebook, all.
Yep.
What the heck? Yeah.
And if somebody messages them, they say, "We'll take your order. We want 20% down." The person sends them PayPal 20%, and they never hear from them again.
Yeah. Jeez. What they do is, they can't get a person that's desperate, they can't get anyone to return their calls. They approach someone on Facebook and they'll say, "If you pay up front, I will bring it today."
Yes. Yep. Give me a deposit. Yeah.
Yeah. That is how they do it.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a single reason why a firewooder would require payment up front.
No.
If you don't trust the customer that much, then don't deliver it to them.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not going to sell your firewood. There's not a stick of firewood that doesn't go unsold.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's, if you, like, for instance, you have a website that a customer can order through. If you have a presentable website, you look like you're actually legit, you're going through a secure checkout process. That's different than just, sending PayPal someone money through an email address. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big difference.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I have never been a fan, nor have I ever advertised or anything on Facebook or Craigslist or the cork boards at the grocery stores. In fact, I've never once spent $1 on marketing, but except for my website.
Yep.
That's how you do it. And then with your website, you can tailor your how you're being viewed by people, by certain parts of your neighborhood, different towns, different areas, different
Yep.
demographics. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it's a
And it's not
changing
on
landscape out
Facebook.
there.
Yeah, it is. I just wish there was no friendly fire though within the industry. And I had another I had another video that went kind of big on Facebook, and I had told you the last time that happened, I was like, this isn't worth it. These comments are just they're not from this planet. But my refrain now anymore to these people I'll say, I am not sure what country you are from, but here in the United States, we are capitalists and we don't mock a person for making an honest living.
The word profit
Yeah.
is not bad.
Yeah, profit is not evil, people. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, that was just something that came to my attention. It just made me think about what's going on with other industries. And these farmers markets, I'm saying they got it going on. They got a nice little thing going on, and people are willing to pay a premium for it.
And it's also interesting because I have actually been looking at a few of those little like custom built sheds with like the open sides, like that's what I'm thinking I'm going to upgrade my roadside stand to make it that more, inviting feel, and just not like you said, a bunch of pallets nailed together with sitting out there. I mean, it does have meaning, and it does have value to do something like that.
You better believe it does.
Yeah, it's presentation can go a long ways.
Yeah, I learned, from watching the Shark Tank. You ever watch that show?
Yeah, I used
to. They'll have a person up there is selling their idea to the sharks, and it's funny how interested the sharks are in the packaging.
Yes.
Not as much as the product inside of it, but the packaging. It plays such a huge role in positioning a product and how much money you can ask for it. I always use, like, guys from our generation, was that the Gateway computer.
Yep.
It was literally just a computer that you could build yourself, but it had that cow print boxes, and everyone just had to have it because of the box.
The Holstein print.
Yeah.
The black and white cow. Yep.
Yeah. And and then they can charge that much more. And then there's this perception that this computer is awesome, because of the packaging.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Whopper, the Whopper its sales have really increased, and that was because Burger King started wrapping them in that heavier deli style paper. It's just that perceived value, and that's the same thing you get with these farmers markets.
I thought it was because that Burger King opened up on your route to the Woodyard, and you just stop there every day for a Whopper.
Is the official fast food restaurant of Ohio Woodburner.
That's right, Dr. Pepper and Whoppers.
Oh, yeah, the Whopper is the greatest value out there. What a great sandwich. Love the Whopper. Too bad they're not good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only problem. Yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, we are dealing with 80-degree weather, and I got a truck to fix before the weather turns.
Well,
it is the beginning of November, and I still have not fired up my outdoor wood furnace.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I have burned the least amount of wood in October that I ever have.
Wow.
Yep. But yeah, well, thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of the Wood Hounds, the #1 firewood podcast in the world. We'll be right back here each and every Wednesday morning. 5 a.m.
Yeah, and if you could leave us a 5-star review, we would really appreciate it. It does help with our metrics and with others finding us out there on your favorite streaming service. All right, Dan. So how about this? How about let's stay
safe
and don't criticize the
farmer market?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And have
a great day.